MichaelAHiltzik, The New Deal, A Modern History. Step back in time to the era of Franklin D. Roosevelt and witness the creation of the New Deal in The New Deal, A Modern History by MichaelAHiltzik. This book summary will guide you through Roosevelt's multifaceted approach to addressing the Great Depression. You'll explore the ins and outs of his policies, such as the bank holiday, the inception of the FDIC and the Civilian Conservation Corps, the push for electrification in impoverished areas, and the establishment of Social Security. However, not all of his policies were success stories, as you'll also delve into controversial programs like the Agricultural Adjustment Act and Roosevelt's miscalculations with the gold scheme. Get ready to witness the triumphs, failures, and lasting effects of the New Deal era.
Roosevelt's presidential campaign. In the depths of the Great Depression, Franklin D. Roosevelt won the Democratic nomination for president in 1932. His campaign, against Republican incumbent Herbert Hoover, promised a reversal of laissez-faire policies and a focus on bold government intervention to tackle the country's economic crisis. Roosevelt's memorable inaugural address, with its famous phrase, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself," set a tone of confident leadership. His swift actions as president included a bank holiday to halt cash withdrawals, followed by the creation of the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation to restore trust in the banking system. Roosevelt's presidency would be characterized by his grip on the popular imagination and the vast expansion of federal power to address the nation's problems. Roosevelt's New Deal programs. After stabilizing the banking sector, President Roosevelt implemented programs to revive the economy during the Great Depression. The Economy Act, aimed at reducing government expenditure, led to a decrease in wages and veterans' benefits. However, Roosevelt quickly realized his mistake and abandoned his conservative fiscal policies. He legalized the sale of alcohol, created the Civilian Conservation Corps, CCC, to provide employment opportunities, and established the Homeowners Loan Corporation to stabilize the housing market. Another program, the Tennessee Valley Authority, aimed to bring electricity to impoverished regions. Despite initial opposition, these New Deal programs brought significant changes to the country, reshaping the Tennessee Valley and addressing issues in the securities industry. Roosevelt's New Deal. In the midst of the Great Depression, President Franklin D. Roosevelt initiated the New Deal program, an array of policies and initiatives aimed at reviving the U.S. economy through governmental intervention. While some of the programs were lauded as successes, others were poorly executed, leaving many uncomfortable and causing dissent among business leaders and within the administration. This passage explores some of the initiatives that proved problematic, including the Agricultural Adjustment Act, the National Industrial Recovery Act, and the short-lived gold price manipulation scheme. Despite opposition and criticism, Roosevelt continued to push forward with his programs, leading to a truculent populism and a constant opposition to subsequent New Deal initiatives. Populist critiques of Roosevelt. In the 1930s, two influential populists, Reverend Charles E. Coughlin and Senator Huey Long, used their radio shows to express opposition to the New Deal and put pressure on President Roosevelt. Coughlin tended to offer vague complaints while Long proposed specific actions, such as capping family wealth and income and redistributing the rest to give every U.S. family at least $2,000 each year. Though Roosevelt ignored both men, their messages attracted followers, especially Long's Share Our Wealth program. Criticism of the two men backfired, drawing more attention to them. Coughlin's increasingly anti-Semitic and pro-Hitler rhetoric led to his removal from the airwaves in 1942. Social Security and Roosevelt's New Deal. In this summary, we learn how Roosevelt's first term saw the implementation of Social Security, his grandest accomplishment, in response to the dire situation faced by the elderly during the Depression. Despite opposition from critics, Congress passed Social Security, marking it as the most successful government program in American history. Roosevelt also proposed the Public Utility Holding Company Act to regulate the electrical industry and drew both support and criticism of his New Deal programs. Although historians may portray Roosevelt as a principled progressive, he approached the New Deal by improvising and attacking problems however he could. In his early years in office, President Franklin D. Roosevelt introduced the now famous Social Security program, an accomplishment that became the hallmark of his first term. As the Great Depression continued to ravage the country, older Americans faced dire circumstances, including high unemployment rates and evaporated retirement funds. State pension plans offered little help and often failed, leaving affected individuals with scant monthly payments. Nevertheless, Roosevelt was not disheartened, and he sought to introduce a program that would cater to the elderly's basic needs on the national level. Although initial deliberations of the chosen federal pension plan sought guidance from several angles, including earnings-based or flat-rate benefits, they eventually agreed on a sliding scale of benefits tailored to individual wages. Congress finally mandated that investments of pension funds be directed at U.S. Treasury securities rather than the stock market. Despite opposition from Senator Thomas P. Gore of Oklahoma, who saw Social Security as a socialist-style redistribution of wealth, Congress passed the Social Security Act in 1935. Roosevelt also proposed the Public Utility Holding Company Act to rein in the electrical industry's excesses. However, his New Deal programs received mixed reactions. Progressives criticized Roosevelt for failing to transform Wall Street, while conservatives believed that the measures introduced too much federal regulation and wasteful spending. Despite criticisms, Roosevelt's landslide re-election in 1936 signaled the public's approval of his New Deal programs. Although historians credit Roosevelt as a principled progressive, his approach to the New Deal was one of improvisation, attacking problems however he could. Although some of his policies may have been considered haphazard by insiders, they were essential in meeting the country's needs at the time. Overall, Roosevelt's Social Security program remains the single most successful government program in American history, marking his term as a significant turning point in American political history.
As you've learned from this book summary, Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal aimed to tackle the challenges of the Great Depression. With policies like the FDIC, the Civilian Conservation Corps, the electrification of underprivileged areas, and Social Security, many of his initiatives proved successful and enduring. However, some programs were controversial and flawed, such as the Agricultural Adjustment Act and Roosevelt's experimentation with gold prices. Criticism from various sources, including business leaders, the administration, and populist figures, did little to dampen FDR's popularity. The New Deal showcased Roosevelt's pragmatic approach, which embraced improvisation, risk-taking, and a genuine intent to transform America.